allem sehr glücklich, in diesem wunderschönen Haus hier zu sein, von Gutbrot. Ich habe hier in Stuttgart gearbeitet bei Günther Behnisch und gar nicht so weit von hier in der Reithalle, nicht nur in Silbenbuch, sondern auch in der Reithalle. Und Günther Behnisch war Student von Gutbrot. Und wenn Sie noch nicht die Gelegenheit gehabt haben, schauen Sie sich dieses Gebäude, die Fassaden, die Böden, das ist unglaublich interessant, architektonisch eigentlich ein Meisterwerk. Wir sind gefragt worden, den Vortrag auf Englisch zu machen, da werde ich auf Englisch sprechen. Ich hätte ihn genauso gut Französisch, Griechisch oder aber auch Niederländisch halten können, weil einige unserer Projekte sind im niederländischen Kontext und wir haben lange auch in den Niederlanden gewohnt. So, thank you again so much for the invitation. I will go to the first slides. Where do I? Oh. Yes, our lecture, We Care Lab, is about a project, but actually it's much more than about a project. It's about our approach to the way we develop projects. We, that means not only me, Elisabeth Sikiaridi, I'm heading International Master on Sustainable Landscape Design and Development, and we're setting up, for example, at the moment, a collaboration, Erasmus Mundo, together with most probably a German university, KIT, a Strasbourg University, and 3 universities in Africa, because of course, more important than bringing innovation to Africa is training people. There's nothing better for development than training people that have the expertise and understand the local context. We is together with Professor Franz Vogeler. Franz founded in 1998 the first department worldwide for hybrid space, and we've been working together for quite some years exactly on this theme of hybrid space. Hybrid space is a think tank and a design lab for architecture, urbanism, design, and digital culture. We're focused on cultural innovation. I think that's very, very important. It's not only about politics, economy, technology. A lot is about the cultural mindset. And we see ourselves as a cultural breeding ground for incubating breakthrough concepts and fostering innovation, contributing to positive societal and environmental change. Already Stefan talked about acceleration, and if we look at technological acceleration, wait a second, because this is, I'm losing this. Yeah, we needed 1,700 generations to develop language, 300 generations to develop writing, that only 35 generations to develop printing, and after 1910, everything went extremely quickly with telegraphy, telephony, radio, TV, fax, PC, web, smartphones, tablets, Internet of Things, AI, quantum computing. So we have an enormous acceleration. On the other hand, we have also an enormous acceleration as the humans are transforming their planets. Already in the lectures before, Alexander, also Stefan talked about climate change. I mean, yesterday was extremely hot here. We're at the time of Pyrocene. I mean, in my country, Greece, I was reading this morning newspaper, south of Crete is burning. I mean, we are in an enormous acceleration on all levels, not only technology, but also crisis. And it's not only climate crisis connected to it, it's also the biodiversity crisis, the loss of biodiversity. In between technological developments and its consequences, climate change, for example, should lie care. Care also for the future. And our agency, Hybrid Space Lab, focuses on formulating desirable futures, and not only for the 5 or 20%, but for our whole society. We have a cultural approach, a very European approach. We think a lot about public space. I will go into it a bit later. Researching the future with an undisciplined, I mean, we are undisciplined, transdisciplinary approach, with a creative, transformative force, we can contribute opening potentialities for desirable transformations. We shift the lens from how to optimize a system to how to nurture human and non-human well-being, because we are all connected, interdependent. With a sense of agency, we approach digital technologies from a cultural perspective in order to transform them to fit the way we want to live as a society. Working on developing spaces, we should take care to filter out the best of both worlds, the physical world and the digital worlds, combining these dimensions intelligently and effectively. Therefore, we approach technological developments from the designers, the architects, the urban planners, the landscape architects' point of view to transform technology, adapting it to our needs and desires. As I said, we have a European cultural approach focusing on public space. And with such an approach, we already developed, Franz started it in late 1980s, I joined beginning of the 90s. We developed visions for a combined urban and media public space. The project Public Media Urban Interfaces developed models to enable all city dwellers to actively participate bottom-up in media culture in order to anchor the digital in our urban experience. At that time, internet and the digital technologies were still in their infancy, so we had a lot of freedom to think new, to develop alternative scenarios for the interaction of the digital world and the urban space. Our aim was to strengthen the functionality of public space, both urban and digital. I won't go totally in the project, it was an artistic project. And then in 1999 to 2002, we contributed on a think tank of the Dutch government, Infodroom, on information, communication, technology, and society and governance. Our subject was the use of space. And again, we approach technology from the architect, the urban planner's point of view, from the physical space, from the urban landscape. And we worked on a very broad range of issues. I won't go into them, but from the smart city, but also from the dual city. Inclusion is for us very important. From the networked house, but also for the new facilities connected to the house, from the market as the driving force of ICT, but also to the need for publicly driven media spaces. And thinking the digital from the physical is also the starting point of an urban hybrid game, CityKit, we developed 2007. On your left-hand side, you see the very old-fashioned mobile phone for the Hong Kong Social Housing Authority. I mean, Hong Kong is interesting. It was the first place where modernist social housing was built. We are based in Berlin, I didn't say that, but we work broadly internationally. Some of the projects are, for example, in China. As space in Hong Kong is extremely limited, CityKit enabled children and young adults to conceive and design temporary meeting places in the open spaces of the high-rise housing estates. Through the game and with the help of modular building elements that could be moved and placed in specific locations in the neighborhood, children and young adults could build microstages, picnic sets, pavilions, exhibition spots, actually microstructures to activate the public space. The locally based hybrid game platform encouraged them to break out of the digital, to leave their screens and actually physically meet and play in the neighborhood. One of the outcomes of the project was the do-it-yourself pavilion, a mobile pavilion for community education that traveled to several locations in Hong Kong and Shenzhen. It was a do-it-yourself pavilion, meaning it was very easily to adapt it to the very local requirements, and it was a low-tech and low-cost construction, as it was, you see the model here, it was cable binders, plywood, nothing difficult. I now jump to a totally different project. All the projects show how we work connecting the digital with the physical, but with the physical as a starting point. With a deep space project on Valle de los Caídos, Valley of the Fallen, close to Madrid in Spain, we examined how controversial architectural monuments can be transformed with creative digital tools. You see here a view on Valle de los Caídos with its huge cross, 152-meter cross. And underground, you have a very long crypt, or underground church, 263 meter long, built by prisoners of war, Republican prisoners of war of the Spanish conflict. And in the mountain, not at all visible for the tourists that go there, you have 33,000 remains from both of the parts of the conflict. The Republicans were taken from mass graves without the relatives knowing about it. And with the dictator's Franco grave in the center until his exhumation in 2019. This Francoist monument is an example of the difficulties of the processes for transforming controversial heritage sites. We started a project in 2018, mapping it, the site and the morbid history and the hidden history, and developed in 2018 an international transdisciplinary workshop in Madrid in Spain with a lot, of course, of Spanish experts. And one of the main outcomes was in order to not to destroy the toxic monument, but transform it digitally with a digital core archive which allows to gather, access, and store bottom-up collaborative and interdisciplinary contribution on the monument's history. That was very well received in Spain and internationally, and we experienced that creative projects can open spaces of opportunity in controversial and very controversial public debates which are threatening to get seriously stuck, and that the digital can support reconciliation processes. Another project for Athens, or parts of Athens, Polygarden City. You see parts of Athens are totally mineral, and with our project, Polygarden City, a participative climate adaptation project, it had as a goal to integrate nature in the balconies, rooftops, and terraces. And it's a project you can also expand internationally, not only in the Middle Eastern region where we have worked on it, but also, I'll show you in a moment, in China, where we developed for a flat roof, a neighborhood Shenzhen urban village, a rooftop kit, a hybrid game, very similar to the city kit game. Both Athens and Shenzhen projects are not just about greening. They also aim, or mostly aim, at enabling the appropriation of spaces, changing their perception, opening paths for positive developments. And that is also exactly what we did for a very controversial site in Berlin, also a heat island, like the image you had shown a moment ago. We developed it in 2015 for the Humboldt Forum, that is quite a controversial building in Berlin. And 2015, there were not yet the funds to finance its facade, and so we proposed just green it, make a jungle, referring to the jungle explorer Alexander von Humboldt. And of course, mitigating the heat island effect of this very central location in Berlin. And also this project is not just about greening, it's about opening perception, changing perception, enabling appropriation, and making paths for positive developments possible. That's why we got quite some publicity from the side asking, is that the solution, or the Berliner Kurier, Berliners, would you like this fairy tale castle? And a year later, when the funds were there, actually your taxpayers' money for the financing of the Baroque stone facade, we developed Humboldt Volcano, a vertical jungle annex pavilion, enabling the access to the roof and opening the Humboldt Forum to the city. And again, that was very well received by the Berliners. You see, a lot of our project is also about opening possibilities. And we work in cultural fields, but we don't see under the Humboldt Forum as a cultural space, but also the clubbing. And we initiated Club Future, an international laboratory with the aim of developing new future-oriented perspectives for the club and cultural scene. And one of the projects we did for Club Futures was Animal Club. Integrating biodiversity in venues, club venues, but also considering clubs at biodiversity in communication, the stretch of the trees, animal noises, sounds of the earth, connecting creative ecologists, biologists, artists, philosophers, and other experts with professionals from the club scene to generate new concepts for the future of clubbing. And we work a lot in this project that was 2022, also using AI, not only workshops with text, but also using an AI tool. You will see some images later, where these text outcomes of workshops are immediately communicated with a much more imaginative way. And as I said, we work a lot with workshop formats, not only for the clubbing scene, but also with ideation workshops with large companies, with organizations, but also with ministries. For example, for the Dutch Ministry of Foreign Affairs, we worked on a longer program, Embassy Lab, bringing innovation in the embassies. That was from 2014 to 2021, with 17 programs with very diverse focus, of course, focusing on future diplomacy, but also on hybrid health. And I'll come now closer to our Care Lab project, looking at innovative health solutions that combine the digital and the physical, and on health applications embedded in our daily environment, and mostly focusing on the creatives' potential, because we think that the creatives have a very strong position in these transformations. We had already started such a longer project, Happy Health, in 2014, as attention to health care and disease prevention is increasing rapidly, this being attributed to several factors, costs, for example, aging, and urbanization. And we are entering actually a so-called age of longevity. As the first time in history, 5 generations coexist in our planet. Addressing this requires a change of mindset in our societies that are focused on a youthful facade and unprepared to welcome this evolutionary, actually a very positive evolutionary phase of humanity. 2014, we developed Happy Health program, focusing on well-being, exploring the connections between health, physical and digital, living environments, social networks, and developing innovative concepts that can contribute to the improvement of physical, mental, and for us also important, social health and well-being. Looking at the healthcare, we see 4 segments: human biology, medicine, healthcare organization, lifestyle and environment, and the Happy Health program focused on environment and lifestyle. As there is a lot of argument to shift the focus of health policy from biomedical healthcare to promotion of health through environment and behavior. Since the end of the 80s, there is a longer health cities networks by the World Health Organization. And prevention is better than cure. To keep good care affordable for everyone, the focus must shift from treating and caring to prevention, to changing behavior and lifestyle, and of course to the environmental conditions, as prevention is not just an individual behavior choice, but the built environment, the access to green spaces, the access to nature play critical roles determining health outcomes. And the digital brings enormous possibilities to healthcare and prevention. Startups developing AI, robotics, and other digital solutions focusing on healthcare are raising billions. AI, for example, brings more accuracy to diagnosis. Data can be an invaluable information for medical research. Digitalization can also help automating repetitive and administrative tasks that take the administrative tasks. I think they take more than 1/3 of the time of medical workers. Digital self-management tools can support healthy lifestyles and help promote therapy compliance. However, there is still much to explore when it comes to the use and effectiveness of digital tools and technologies. And there is, of course, the risk of creating groups that benefit much less than the others. For example, because they have poorer digital and communication skills. How can we ensure that these groups do not fall further behind? And how can we ensure that the digital divide is reduced rather than increased? And the job of a doctor getting information from a blood analysis to make diagnosis can be done by AI. But a nurse bandaging a child, a crying child, needs emotional intelligence and motoric skills, and that cannot be done by AI or robotics. Therefore, this combination of the physical and the digital healthcare, known as hybrid healthcare, is cutting edge today. We're now developing a project for a middle-sized Dutch city focusing on hybrid health and prevention, filtering out the best of both worlds, of the physical and of the digital healthcare, bringing them together and combining these dimensions intelligently and efficiently. The developments go much further than just robotic technology embedded in wearables with clothing that helps you stand or a glove that strengthens your grip. Interactive homes could help people with mobility and cognitive impairments to live independently longer. Intelligent homes can collect data about your health at home, where you eat, shower, and use the bathroom. Intelligent homes could also, with AI, could decipher your body language and try to make you move from the couch or try to lighten your mood, making changes in the atmosphere. Robotic furniture can help you lifting objects or cleaning. And if moving gets difficult, technology could allow changes what surrounds you, depending on your mood, in order to evoke special memories, and not just visually, but also with smell, with music, and other atmospheric dimensions. Already, digital technology helps keeping in touch with your loved ones, and developments going further with distant loved ones that will be able to visit you with a digital version of themselves. And when you feel sorry and blue, AI might suggest you call a friend, as long as you have one. We can already order food, medication, clothes online, chat, stream, without leaving our houses. And we spend a lot of time alone on our smartphones. The problem of loneliness, which was very long time a taboo, is currently gaining attention as a key challenge to public health programs, and ministerial posts for loneliness have been even created, for example, in the UK and Japan. There are fewer unavoidable activities in public space, and you can do everything from home, which means that chance encounters, which are also of great importance for social cohesion, are steadily decreasing. Since the business model of social media are based on data collections and their corresponding algorithm, just need to intensify the user screen activity and are programmed to attract and direct attention. In order to engage users, they usually do that through strong emotions. And these strong emotions are many times negative ones, such as hate, greed, fear. In the current political debate, which is largely conducted on social media, this has a polarizing and divisive effect, and therefore has an extremely negative impact on our societies. With the rapidly development of AI, which can simulate emotional language, more and more people develop relationships with AI chatbots. That does not only make them dependent on automated systems, but they're also unlearning to interact with real people. They also no longer train the ability to deal with the friction that encounters and confrontation with real people can bring. What is the music? I don't know. You no longer meet the other. Therefore, fostering community and building compassion and genuine social relationships with other people is today more than paramount. Some background music. Oh, am I at the end of the session? Oh, I didn't have half an hour. Okay. So, do I have 5 minutes? So I won't go onto all the ideas we have creating social spaces. We think very, very, very important is to create spaces people meet on all levels, from the house, at the university, at work, and not only spaces but also the possibilities to meet. And if you want health, you need spaces also to move. And I will just bring 2 examples, not the whole discussion on healthy cities, but 2 examples from the Netherlands that I found very interesting. A communal center in a village that saves health insurance companies. €1 spent at the community center saves €6 at municipalities and health insurance. What does it do? Vegetable gardens where people meet, a repair cafe to bring small appliances, a neighborhood clinic, walking tours can start there, physiotherapy, meditation sessions. So there are very simple ways to do that. And the other very simple example is from Rotterdam, urban medicine in Rotterdam. The idea is very simple. Turn daily maintenance of the neighborhood's public green spaces, a necessary task, into a health track where everybody can contribute. And you can pay that from the money that actually would go into the maintenance, as very little exercise, too much food, bad food, no stress, and loneliness are currently the biggest risk factors for our health. This can all be approached by getting the neighborhood to work on cleaning the public spaces, the green public spaces of the neighborhood. That's a very practical example. There are many practical examples. You don't need all to do with high tech. And again, for us, the future is hybrid. It's not only the digital. We have to look at the digital from our point of view, what we need, and I will finish again. Now, next, agents of care. In between technological developments and its consequences should lie care. From agents of change to agents of care, developing empathy and actual social cohesion with real people and fostering what markets do not provide. We approach developments with a sense of agency as an active practice, formulating desirable futures, researching the future with this undisciplinary, transdisciplinary approach. We as creatives have the transformative force and can contribute to opening potentialities for desirable transformations. Thank you.
Ein paar Flaschen mit? Ein paar Flaschen.